After 3 years together, the woman I was dating said, "He makes me feel unfiltered." And I replied, "Then stay unfiltered, just not attached to me." The proof was an email in our shared household inbox confirming a couple's escape package for her and a man named Caleb. Hey friends, please like this video and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you, it's all thanks to you. We weren't engaged. That's important, because people love to assume there must have been a ring or some big dramatic promise for a breakup to matter. There was. What we had instead was 3 years of daily life stacked on top of each other until it felt permanent. We lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a clean apartment building near South End with thin walls and a lobby that always smelled like someone's expensive candle. Our place had the usual signs of two adults sharing space: my work boots by the door, her yoga mat rolled up behind the couch, a drawer in the kitchen that somehow became the drawer for batteries, scissors, and takeout menus. There were also the bigger commitments that turned dating into building. We just renewed the lease for another year because rent was going up and we wanted to lock in the rate. We had a shared savings account for future stuff, which was her phrase. We were planning a trip to celebrate her birthday in 8 weeks, and she'd already placed a deposit with a small coastal inn because she liked the idea of something quiet and romantic. Then there were the domestic details that make everything feel real. She kept a little herb garden on the balcony and named the basil plant like it was a pet. I cooked dinner most nights because it relaxed me. She controlled the playlists because she had strong opinions about what music fit the vibe of chopping onions. I work as a logistics coordinator for a regional distribution company. My days are schedules, routes, receipts, and confirmation emails. I'm not a detective. I'm not dramatic. I'm the guy who makes sure the correct pallet shows up at the correct place at the correct time, and if it doesn't, I track down the paper trail and fix it. That tendency is the only reason I found out when I did. We had a shared household email address. It wasn't romantic. It was practical. We used it for rent payments, utilities, subscription renewals, and travel bookings because it kept things clean. My name was on her accounts, and her name wasn't on mine, but the household account was for things we both needed. One Tuesday night, I was at the kitchen counter paying the internet bill on my laptop. Erin was in the bedroom on a work call, and I could hear her voice through the half-closed door, warm and upbeat in the way she could flip on like a switch. I refreshed the inbox and noticed a new message at the top. "Your reservation is confirmed, Lakeview Lodge and Spa." That didn't match anything we had planned. Our birthday trip wasn't to a lodge, and the name Lakeview Lodge and Spa wasn't familiar. I clicked it because the bill I was paying required a confirmation code that sometimes arrived by email, and I assumed that's what it was. Instead, the first line said, "Dear Erin Caldwell, we're delighted to welcome you and Caleb Rhodes for your couple's escape package." I read it twice, slowly, as if the words might rearrange themselves into something reasonable. The email wasn't vague. It listed dates, a room type, a late checkout, and 2 spa appointments. It also included an itinerary attachment and a note about special requests being received. There was no mention of me, no mention of guest, no mention of anything that could be explained away as work. Here's the detail that mattered. The dates were the same weekend Erin had told me she'd be out of town for a team offsite. She said it casually over dinner, like it was annoying but unavoidable. I'd asked where, and she'd said, "Some lake place, I don't know, it's planned by HR." Apparently, she did know. I didn't go hunting for more messages. I didn't search Caleb's name. I didn't open her laptop. I didn't need to. The receipt was right in front of me, sent to the email we both used, with her full name and his full name printed like it was the most normal thing in the world. When Erin came out of the bedroom, she looked relaxed, almost cheerful, like her call had gone well. She grabbed a glass from the cabinet and started filling it with water. "You get the internet sorted?" she asked. I turned my laptop slightly so she could see the email header and the first line. I didn't wave it in her face. I didn't slam it down. I just presented it like a document on a desk. "Who is Caleb Rhodes?" I asked. Her hand paused mid-pour, and the water ran too long, splashing over the rim. She didn't even notice. She stared at the screen with a face that went blank, like her mind was searching for a script and coming up empty. "Why are you in the household email?" she said, too fast. "Because I pay the bills," I replied. "Who is Caleb?" She swallowed. It's not what it looks like." I nodded once, "Then tell me what it is." She set the glass down carefully, like careful movements could slow time. She rubbed her palms on her leggings and said, "It's a resort, it's for work." I didn't argue, I didn't laugh. I just tapped the words couples escape package with my finger. "Work booked you a couples escape package," I said. Her eyes tightened, and in that moment she stopped trying to be clever. She exhaled, long and shaky. "Okay," she whispered, "okay." That's when it got worse, not because she raised her voice or started a fight, but because she tried to make it small. It's been happening," she said. "It's not like I planned some big betrayal." I kept my voice steady. "Are you sleeping with him?" Her chin trembled. She nodded once. "How long?" I asked. "Since January," she said, and her voice cracked on the month. January, we were in late fall. That meant almost a year of shared dinners, shared rent, shared plans, and a secret life running alongside them. I didn't shout, I didn't pace. I sat down at the kitchen table because I needed my body to stop bracing. "Who is he?" I asked again, slower. "A vendor rep," she said. "He works with our team sometimes. It started as just talking." Erin worked in procurement for a healthcare supply company. She was good at it. She could negotiate contracts like she was born with a calculator in her brain. She was also, apparently, capable of negotiating a double life. I stared at the email again, and I noticed the spa appointments were set under both names. "So you planned a weekend away," I said, and told me it was an off-site. "I didn't know how to tell you," she said quickly. "I was going to end it. I was going to figure it out." "Figure what out?" I asked, still calm. "How to keep both?" Her eyes filled. "No." I let a beat of silence sit there, and she filled it with the part she thought would justify everything. "With him, I don't feel like I'm performing," she said. "I don't feel like I'm always doing life the responsible way. I feel open, like I can say what I want, be who I am, and not be measured." There it was, the free idea, dressed up as self-expression, not even really about him, about what she thought he allowed her to be. I didn't insult her. I didn't call her names. I didn't ask for details. I didn't want mental images I could never unsee. I gave her one sentence, quiet and absolute. "Then be that person, but you don't get to be her while living with me." She blinked like she expected me to bargain. "You're really doing this," she said. "Yes," I replied, "we're done." She shook her head, tears falling. "You're acting like I'm a monster." "I'm acting like I'm not staying," I said. "That's different." She tried to reach for my hand across the table, and I pulled mine back calmly, not jerking, just removing access. "Tonight," I said, "you're sleeping in the second bedroom. Tomorrow we handle logistics." "Logistics," she repeated, like she hated the word. "Yes," I said, "because we share a lease, money, and bills. This doesn't get messy." That night I slept badly, but I didn't spiral. I didn't stalk her online. I didn't call her coworkers. I didn't message Caleb. I sat on the couch with a notepad and wrote down what needed to be separated. Rent, utilities, the shared savings account, the furniture we bought together, the deposit on her birthday trip, the car insurance discount we got by bundling, the gym membership we signed up for because she wanted a couple's routine. The next morning, I took the first step I always take when something complicated needs to end cleanly. I consulted a professional before I moved anything. At 9:00 a.m., I was in a small office uptown with a tenant attorney named Susan who handled lease disputes and cohabitation issues. I wasn't there to sue anyone. I was there to understand my options so I wouldn't make an expensive mistake out of emotion. Susan asked simple questions. "Both names on the lease," she confirmed. "Yes." "Any restraining orders, violence, threats?" she asked, because she had to. "No," I said, "nothing like that." "Good," she said, "then this is mostly a contract problem. Your choices are, one of you assumes the lease with landlord approval, you both break it and pay a fee, or you find a sublet if your lease allows it. The key is written communication and avoiding impulsive financial moves." She looked me in the eye. "Do not empty joint accounts without documenting contributions. Do not lock her out. Do not retaliate. You're not trying to punish. You're trying to exit." That sentence hit me hard in a good way. Exit, not win. Exit. I left with a plan, separate finances immediately, notify the landlord, propose a move-out timeline, put everything in writing, and keep receipts for every step. When I got back, Erin was sitting at the kitchen table, eyes puffy, coffee untouched. She looked like she'd been crying and texting and bargaining with reality all morning. "Where did you go?" she asked. "I talked to a tenant attorney," I said. Her face tightened, already. "Yes," I replied, because I'm not improvising. I kept my voice calm and specific. "You have 10 days to move out," I said, "or I do, depending on what the landlord allows. We are not living in limbo. From now on, communication is written unless it's urgent. We separate money today." Her eyes widened. 10 days is ridiculous. "It's reasonable," I said. "You have a sister in Gastonia. You have friends. You can do a short-term rental, but we're not pretending this is still a home." She cried harder. "You're being heartless." I kept my voice steady. "I'm being structured." Then I did the thing people always claim they want until it actually happens. I followed through. I opened a new checking account at my bank and redirected my direct deposit. I removed my card from any shared subscriptions. I froze the shared credit card, not to punish her, but to prevent new charges while we were dividing everything. I emailed her a clean summary of what I did and why, including the current balance and the bills that still needed to be paid from it until we separated them. No surprises, no games, a paper trail. Then I contacted our landlord. The leasing office responded with a simple form. Either Erin could apply to assume the lease, I could apply, or we could both sign an early termination agreement with a fee equal to 2 months' rent. I forwarded it to Erin and wrote, "Please choose option by end of day tomorrow." She wrote back, "I can't afford 2 months." "Then apply to assume," I replied, "or find a roommate with landlord approval." That's when I noticed something important about her responses. She didn't argue the facts. She argued my tone, like the tone could change the outcome. Then came the untangling montage, the part nobody sees in movies. I canceled the gym membership because it was in my name and tied to my payment method. There was a cancellation fee because we were under contract. I paid it and kept the email confirmation. I removed her from the bundled car insurance discount. That increased my premium by a small amount, which was annoying, but it was clean. Confirmation email saved. I separated the utilities. Our electricity provider required a transfer request with a date. I chose the day after her move-out deadline and submitted it. Confirmation number saved. I canceled the birthday trip deposit because it had been paid out of our shared savings, and it was now clearly not a couple's trip. The inn refunded part of it and kept a portion as a fee. I saved the refund notice and forwarded it to Erin with the breakdown. The shared savings account was the biggest one. It wasn't huge, but it represented trust. We'd both been putting money into it each month. I pulled the statements, calculated what each of us contributed over the last 12 months, and proposed a split that matched the numbers, not feelings. I emailed it to her. She replied with one sentence. "Wows, you really don't care." I stared at it, then wrote back, "I care enough to be fair." By day 5, the social pressure wave arrived. Her best friend texted me, "Erin is a wreck. What did you do?" I didn't take the bait. I replied, "We ended the relationship. I'm not discussing details." Her mom called twice. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail that was half panic, half accusation. "Please call me back. We need to understand what's happening." I didn't call back. A mutual coworker friend of mine, someone who barely knew Erin, messaged, "Heard you're breaking up. What happened?" I replied, "Private matters." Then I muted my phone for an hour and went for a long walk because I could feel the pull of other people's curiosity trying to turn my life into entertainment. Here's the detail that mattered. When you stay calm, people try harder to provoke you because they want a scene. I refused. Erin's move-out day arrived, and it wasn't dramatic. It was cardboard boxes, quiet sighs, and her avoiding eye contact like the walls were accusing her. She packed kitchen items last, like she couldn't accept that she wouldn't be making coffee there anymore. She tried to start conversations every few minutes. "Remember when we moved in?" she said, holding a saucepan. I didn't respond to the nostalgia hook. I said, "Please take what's yours." "I can't believe this is happening," she said, taping a box. I can, I replied. That was the only truth that mattered. When she finished loading the last box into her friend's SUV, she stood by the door with her purse and said, I ended it with Caleb. I chose you. I didn't flinch, I didn't smile, I just looked at her. You didn't choose me, I said calmly. You chose consequences. She started to cry harder, anger mixed in. So you're just going to throw away 3 years over one mistake. I held the doorknob gently, not slamming it, just holding it like a boundary. It wasn't one mistake, I said. It was months of decisions. Then I gave her the line I knew I could live with. I don't do shared lives with shared secrets. She stared at me like she wanted to argue with a rule. There was nothing to argue. I wasn't asking for permission. She handed me her key. I took it, nodded once, and said, I wish you well. She left, the door closed, and the apartment went quiet in a way that felt both sad and clean. Then I rebuilt the way I rebuild everything, routine first, emotion later. I moved the furniture, not dramatically, just enough that my body wouldn't automatically walk to the same spots. I replaced the balcony herb garden with 2 plain plants I could keep alive without sentimental attachment. I bought new sheets because sleeping on the same ones felt like wearing someone else's shirt after they moved out. I started going to the gym at 6:00 a.m. again, not for revenge, just for structure. I focused on simple meals, simple habits, and a full calendar that didn't include her. At work, I asked for a new project assignment, one that required travel a couple times a month. My manager was surprised because I'd been avoiding travel so we could build our life. Now I didn't have that reason, and I wanted to pour the energy somewhere useful. He approved it, and 2 weeks later I was in Nashville for a warehouse optimization project, listening to forklift beeps and feeling my brain finally do something productive again. Aaron tried to come back, of course. They always do, not always because they love you, but because stability is comfortable when the new thing stops feeling shiny. The first attempt was an email. I'm sorry, I miss home, can we talk? I replied with one sentence. Please keep communication limited to remaining bills until everything is settled. She responded, so you're really done. I wrote yes. The second attempt was a call from an unknown number late at night. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail that was mostly crying and a quiet, desperate please. I didn't respond. The third attempt was a text with a photo of us from a beach trip years ago, followed by, this mattered, right? I didn't respond. Here's the detail that mattered. I didn't enjoy ignoring her. I did it because any response becomes a thread, and threads become knots. Then karma arrived, and it was a different kind than money trouble. It wasn't a collections letter. It wasn't a scandal email to everyone's family. It was a legal consequence that came from Caleb being exactly the kind of man who offers freedom without responsibility. I found out because Aaron emailed me again, this time with a subject line that sounded like paperwork. I need your help with a statement. I almost deleted it. I didn't owe her anything, but I opened it because it said statement, and I thought it might be related to the lease or bills. It was. She wrote, Caleb got arrested last weekend. DUI. He hit a parked car and left. They found him later. I was in the passenger seat. I didn't think he was that drunk. I need a statement that I wasn't driving, please. I read it twice, feeling something in my chest settle into cold clarity. Here's what made it karma, not tragedy. She had built a secret life around a man who made her feel unfiltered, and that unfiltered life came with consequences she didn't think would apply to her. I didn't gloat, I didn't lecture. I kept my response clean. I can't help with that, I wrote. You need an attorney. Please don't contact me about his legal issues. She replied, you're the only one who understands me. I stared at that sentence for a long time. Then I wrote back, that isn't true, and even if it were, it wouldn't change my boundary. After that, her messages turned frantic for a few days, then stopped. Not because she respected me, but because her attention shifted to the mess she'd climbed into. I didn't follow the story. I didn't ask mutual friends. I didn't look up arrest records. I didn't need details to feel validated. I already had the truth. The free feeling she chased wasn't a higher life. It was a reckless one. A month later, I took my reset chapter, not because I needed to prove anything to anyone, but because my body needed a new memory that didn't include her. I went to Monterey, California for a long weekend. I picked it because it was simple: ocean air, long walks, and no shared history. I booked a small hotel near Cannery Row and made a rule for myself: no doom scrolling, no checking old photos, no replaying conversations. On Saturday morning, I walked along the coastal trail near Lover's Point with coffee in my hand and watched seals bob in the water like they didn't care about any human drama at all. I stopped at a bench to stretch my legs, and an older man sat down nearby with a paperback novel. He nodded politely and said, "Good day to be outside." "Yeah," I said. He looked at the water, then at my coffee, then back at the water. "You look like you've been carrying something heavy." I almost laughed at how simple it was. No details, no prying, just a human observation. "Maybe," I said. He nodded like he understood without needing a story. Heavy doesn't leave all at once, but it leaves quicker when you stop picking it back up. That sentence followed me the rest of the trip. When I returned to Charlotte, the apartment felt less haunted. I was over it, but I was back in my life. I finished the lease transfer paperwork. I closed the shared savings account and mailed Erin a cashier's check for her portion with a short note: "Final settlement." I started cooking again with no playlist debates. I bought a new couch because the old one held too many quiet arguments. I stopped expecting my phone to buzz with her name. Months later, I ran into Erin at a Target on South Boulevard. I was buying laundry detergent and a pack of socks. She was in line holding a legal pad and a cheap plastic folder, looking tired in a way that had nothing to do with work stress. She saw me and froze. For a second, her face tried to form an apology, then a smile, then something else. "Hey," she said softly. "Hayes," I replied, polite and neutral. She swallowed. "I'm sorry." I didn't give her comfort. I didn't give her punishment. I gave her closure in one calm sentence. "I hope you choose better next time," I said. Her eyes filled, and I could see her searching my face for an opening. There wasn't one. I paid, walked out, and felt something surprising. Nothing dramatic. No rush of anger. No urge to win the moment. Just calm. Because the point of boundaries isn't to teach someone a lesson. The point is to protect your future from someone who already proved they'll trade it for a feeling. Keep your receipts, keep your standards, keep your peace. That's the whole secret.